Ladies and gentlemen, this is Tyrelle Audain here. Hope you guys are all well and in very good health. So, guys, the ICC Champions Trophy is back and it's bowling off tomorrow in Pakistan and in the United Arab Emirates. And in today's video, I decided, just to share my thoughts on previous editions of the Champions Trophies, aka favorite memories, alongside sharing a little bit of a preview as well. So let's get on with it, ladies and gentlemen. So for the first time since 2017, the ICC Champions Trophy returns to the ICC's Future Tours program. And just like the Asia Cup in 2023, which did take place in Pakistan, it will be on a hybrid model with 10 of its matches taking place in Pakistan, along with one of the semi-finals and possibly the final, while 5 of the matches will be taking place in Dubai, United Arab Emirates, including one of the semi-finals and possibly the final if India goes all the way to the end. And the reason why matches are happening in the United Arab Emirates, it's due to India's reluctance to visit Pakistan. Or should I say, their ignorance of the government, but we're not here to talk politics. So you all may recall 4 years ago in November of 2021, while the ICC Men's T20 World Cup in the UAE was reaching its climax, the ICC announced that Champions Trophy was returning after an 8-year hiatus, and this year's edition will have a number of firsts. So let me break down the number of firsts for you guys. Just like the hybrid model, which was in 2023's Asia Cup for the first time, a hybrid model will be in effect due to the Indian government BJP not sending the 2013 champions to Pakistan due to security concerns. Now, keep in mind, ever since cricket has returned to Pakistan 10 years ago, there has hardly been security concerns despite the few hiccups early on, but on the whole, cricket has gradually returned to the country, and despite that, India is still bringing up its past problems with terrorism when it comes to Pakistan. But other than that, all of the other teams will be in Pakistan, and for the first time, Afghanistan will be making its debut in the 8-team Champions Trophy. And here's another first: there will be no Sri Lanka in this year's Champions Trophy for the first time, and no West Indies for the second straight tournament in a row, due to their rankings position and constantly performing poor in one-day internationals over the last 5 years or a decade or so. Number 4, there'll be no Indian officials officiating in the tournament for reasons unknown. We are hearing the old saying that says personal issues. I don't feel it's personal issues. I feel that because how the tournament is happening in Pakistan, they are refusing to come. But I will not jump into conclusions. But we don't know what's the outcome of that. Number 5, Pakistan is hosting an ICC tournament after almost 30 years. Believe it or not, it's 30 years, or should I say 29 years since an ICC tournament has taken place in Pakistan. Now, the last time an ICC event took place on Pakistani soil was the 1996 World Cup, in which the Sri Lankans won by defeating the Aussies in the final. Now, originally, folks, they were supposed to be the co-host of the 2011 ICC Men's 50-over World Cup, alongside eventual winners India and runners-up Sri Lanka. But due to the Lahore attacks in 2009 on the Sri Lankan team bus, they lost out on the hosting rights to Bangladesh. Excuse me, guys. Now, as a cricket fan myself, who has seen 5 out of the 8 editions of the ICC Champions Trophy, I must say a few of the tournaments have been my favorites. The one in 2004, the one in 2013, both in England. Now, why I'm saying both those tournaments are remarkable, because in those events, I don't know how I should break it down, folks. The reason why I chose the 2004 and 2013 Champions Trophies as my favorite events, they were very remarkable for numerous reasons. One, West Indies, against all expectations, going all the way undefeated to the title under the captaincy of Brian Lara after a disastrous English summer where they were beaten in the test matches 3-0 and lost out on the NatWest Series final to New Zealand. Now, at that time, there were a lot of tri-series cricket, and despite all the inconsistency, who would have ever thought that they would have won that? And that 2004 final against England will forever be remembered for that 9-wicket partnership involving Ian Bradshaw and Courtney Brown. Now, both of them had came together at 147 for 8, needing 71 or something more to defeat England. Now, Chanderpaul had just gotten dismissed to Paul Collingwood, and that partnership was totally out of this world. I remember watching that final at that time. I was only 2 years of age. I had first fell in love with cricket during the 2003 World Cup somewhere there, and that final was absolutely majestic. If you're a West Indian fan or if you're from anywhere in the Caribbean islands, it will forever be one of the underrated ICC trophy wins, other than those 2 T20 World Cups and the 250 over World Cups where we had those dream teams. I'm talking about this underrated team because coming into the Champions Trophy, a lot of people had said that West Indies would not get to the semis because how they were in a lot of people were saying that South Africa would have gotten there, but that knockout game in which we beat South Africa was unexpected. But I'll tell you this, as a West Indian fan who has watched so much cricket over the years, it is still baffling to see West Indies struggle in one-day cricket, especially in the last decade or so with all of the politics that's been going on. But that 2004 Champions Trophy victory in the final against England will always be underrated for so many reasons. That 9-wicket partnership between two unknown players at the time. Now, Courtney Brown was around in the 90s into the 2000s. The last time he played for West Indies, I believe, was 2005, where the reason why his career came to an end was that drop catch of Inzamam ul Haq in Sabina Park. I think I had that footage somewhere backed up. But we're talking about Champions Trophy here. Courtney Brown and Bradshaw's 9-wicket standers 71 stayed them to the Champions Trophy title and over the line by 2 wickets in the final. And around that same time in 2004, the Caribbean islands were reeling very badly from Hurricanes Ivan and Gian. Now, flash forward into 9 years later in 2013, India had came into the Champions Trophy in England under the captaincy of Mahindra Singh Dhoni, and they were a team in transition at the time due to Sachin Tendulkar's expected retirement and the dropping of several senior players in Virender Sehwag, Gautam Gambhir and Yuvraj Singh. Now, the men in blue were absolutely unstoppable with their young side they had in that tournament, which went all the way. Now, we're talking about younger sides here. The 3 underrated ICC Champions Trophies has to be 2004, 2013, and I cannot forget 2017, about 8 years ago. The reason why I'm saying that is because West Indies, who had won in 2004, had a very young side under the captaincy of Brian Lara, which had the likes of seasonal players such as Gail, Sarwan, Chanderpaul, and even Bravo had debuted earlier in that year. And there were a few others who have been around for a little while. Even the bowling attack was underrated, I must say. But on the whole, I've seen several editions of the Champions Trophy which has been sometimes overrated and underrated for many reasons. But 2013, let me come back to that. The men in blue was simply unstoppable all tournament long, winning every single game easily. But however, when they had got to the final, out of nowhere they found a way to defeat England in a reduced 20-over game because of the rain after posting 129 runs. And it was all because of Dhoni's brilliant captaincy and the mindset as well. And also the spinners in Ashwin and Jadeja, they had spectacular game-winning 19th and 20th over respectively, where they were in a situation where they almost lost it. And the other underrated part of that Champions Trophy was the rise of Shikhar Dhawan. He had an absolute run-scoring fest in that tournament, where he ended up as the leading run scorer. And that's the reason why India won the Champions Trophy, was all because of Shikhar Dhawan's run-scoring fest and the young crop of players they had on that side as well, who I believe some of them are still playing. Now, 2017, the last Champions Trophy, was underrated as well, just like 2004, for example. But 2013 was overrated in my view, alongside 2006 and 2009, which was overrated because of Aussie's dominance. But 2004 and 2017 will forever be underrated because no one had expected the West Indies to win that tournament. But 2017 was another unexpected thing too, because Bangladesh had made that tournament and had made the semis as well. But we got to talk about this unexpected run from the Pakistani team. They narrowly qualified for that event despite struggling in one-day cricket for the last few years. Before that event, they had a very young-looking side under the captaincy of Sarfaraz Ahmed, who almost missed out on Champions Trophy qualification in 2015 following the retirements of Mishbah and Afridi, and then Azali had led the side for a short period due to the dismal performances. But they managed to overcome that, and the men in green, in my view, someone was talking about it on YouTube the other day, with all what was going on in Pakistan, no one had ever thought it would have won that competition. Now, after that disastrous start against India, a lot of people thought they were going home early, but the reason how they fought back and won that Champions Trophy in 2017 was mainly the bowlers, especially rookie fast bowler Hassan Ali at the time, who was literally a very wild character earlier on. I don't know what happened to him post 2017. He had lost a format alongside injury. And another underrated fellow who has rattled the Indians in the past, Junaid Khan. Remember 2012-13 series, months before Champions Trophy, he rattled several of their top-line batters, in which Pakistan did defeat India 2-1 at that time. But Junaid Khan was another match winner by himself between the mid-2010s after they had lost Mohammad Amir to spot fixing and Asif. He was talked about a good bit, but then he lost his way due to injury and politics with the selection. But the most talked about performance from that Champions Trophy, other than Hassan Ali's heroics that won him player of the tournament, was Fakhar Zaman's brute force. Now, he came into the side at the expense of the outer form Ahmed Shahzad for the game against South Africa, at which he attacked the South African bowlers. Now, Pakistan had won that game thanks to Duckwood, Lewis and Rain, but his brute force century in the final has always been talked about over and over, and he's the only one that is still a top order attacking batter for Pakistan nowadays. But coming back to 2025 now, after all what has happened in the past, this Champions Trophy will be one that will be remembered as the return to Pakistan, returning to the ICC events as a host nation. But the one thing that's disappointed, I'm not upset at the BCCI, though I understand that the Indian government still doesn't want to send Pakistan because of all the terrorist activities that has happened in the past. But past is past, this is the present. Every single international side has told Pakistan since cricket returned to the country in 2015. I know what also brought cricket back to Pakistan too was the World 11 and also the PSL. Now, the first season and a half took place in UAE, and then the big return was 2017, and that led to every single country returning to Pakistan since then. It started off slowly, but then it continued to rise time and time. But for India to continue to refusing to tour Pakistan and refusing to play them on the whole is a disservice to the sport. But it is what it is. Despite the fact that cricket has returned to that country, they continue to play the politics, which I will not discuss. But when it comes to cricket, it's only bacchanal. Now, before the Champions Trophy, though, there were actually threats from the UK government for England to boycott their match against Afghanistan due to the Taliban ruin, or should I say, due to the Taliban rule. However, the UK government, alongside with the ECB, decided against it. Same can be said with South Africa, but the same thing applied. They decided against boycotting. Despite all those threats, the games are going ahead as planned. But one thing is for sure, this year's Champions Trophy will be very successful and exciting from the first game to the last. And let's hope that the politics, aka the dotish politics or the Douglas politics off the field, doesn't dampen the matches. My prediction for this Champions Trophy now, given how Pakistan and Australia and England have struggled in recent one-day games, I do not see them going all the way. My money is on New Zealand and India. Now, a lot of people want Pakistan to go all the way, despite the fact that the selection panel has made a lot of blunders. But we'll see what happens. India, mind you, are going in with 5 spinners for the tournament, which is kind of confusing. Maybe it's because of the ILT20 wickets, which was slow, may have been another reason. But whatever it is, Whatever the combination they pick, so it will be. And New Zealand, they are in red hot form, let me tell you. They have been playing terrifically well in Pakistan over the last couple of years or so, and they're one team that is sure not to be defeated. I have a feeling India and New Zealand might go all the way, but you can never underestimate Pakistan or any of the other sides. But for example, Afghanistan is another one we underestimated in the last T20 World Cup. They made the semis. Who knows? They can go all the way too. Bangladesh in the last Champions Trophy unexpectedly reached the semis because they had the senior pros at the time. But now they have transitioned on to the younger set. So we'll see what happens. Pakistan and New Zealand bowl off the first Champions Trophy match tomorrow at the National Stadium, Karachi. The match starts at 2 p.m. local time in Pakistan, 5 a.m. Eastern Caribbean time. Check all the time zones globally because Champions Trophy is back and I can't wait for the action to begin. Take care, guys.